I think we do have a little bit of a benefit there, an advantage compared to G2, because I think Reckless can just be plugged and played into the lineup. He's very knowledgeable about the game, and he's still, he's also in the office. He watches the presentation. He's learning with the team, scrimming with the team. So I don't think it's that big of an issue, but I think Misfits might have a small advantage there.
Hey everyone, this is Pool Party Darius, joined here by Joey on his birthday. Congratulations on both your birthday and the win. That must feel like a very special present from your team.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than losing on your birthday, right? Like, that would really suck.
Yeah, I mean, and Niski, it's also Niski's birthday today, and he has to play against Misfits later. That might suck a bit.
Also Betsy, don't forget Betsy. Yeah, there's a lot of birthdays in Yellowstar, so maybe Yellowstar's going to lose tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so many birthdays, man. That's interesting. Esports and certain dates, maybe for birthday, maybe that's a correlation. You got called today the most successful man in EULCS by the Fnatic Instagram account. What would you like to say about that statement?
Well, I would say thank you, and thank you for pushing that propaganda, forward. I guess objectively you can make a claim that I have the most titles and consecutively, so people can claim that, and I don't mind. I don't mind hearing that, so yeah.
Okay, so you'll take it. You'll take the compliment. Now, that said, though, I feel like the competition, the split is super fierce. Misfits look great, even though you guys did manage to grab the one most important win. Maybe if they could go 17-1, and they would have gotten so close to your record, but to no avail.
I have some strong opinions on Misfits being that fierce team.
Okay.
Because actually I had this realization this morning, because when we were preparing for Misfits, I was actually watching basically a second Fnatic. I see that they are actually studying us and trying to copy our plays. And the Misfits from last year was doing that with G2. They were the main scrim partners of G2 when I was the coach there. And you could see they were just trying to emulate whatever we were doing. And I think this split, they've started emulating what we are doing. I do think they've picked up a little bit of different early game plays, which is really interesting. But we could dissect that in our game and just completely destroy them. And I think if they're just going to try to copy us this split in terms of macro in the mid and late game, they are not going to be better than us. There's going to be a lesser version of us.
That's always usually the saying. If you just copy someone else, you're just going to be, the lesser version of that. That said, though, sometimes, the student overcomes the master. Is that not something you're worried about? Or do you just go, no, we have more individual skill?
So I'm worried about it when they have different set plays in the early game. Like they actually have some really good early game plays with TP plays that we might also copy from them. But I think like the mid and late game is so much more important than the early game that since we have an advantage there, I'm not too worried. And also we showed in our game that we can completely nullify their early game TPs because we just knew all their set plays, all their specific plays, like what plays are they going to make on top lane, what make on bot lane. Like we could see them coming and just really prepare for it and make sure it didn't happen.
And then you just lock on Wukong mid and, it all goes from there.
I mean, people will say we won because of Wukong mid, but we just out-macroed them from level 1 to level 18, and we didn't give them an opportunity, and that could have been Teemo mid lane, so...
It's interesting you say that because, today in LCK, Teemo was locked in, and basically the mindset seems to have been, Griffin, we're going to win this either way, so Viper might as well just lock in Teemo and just out-rotate anyway.
I mean, it worked for LCK, right? But it was just for me to say that in our strategy, we just out-macroed them and had a really good strategy where we were going to pick a strong 2v2 mid lane. And we knew that if they were going to pick Yasuo, we would get the Wukong right. But even if they didn't get Yasuo or they would have banned Wukong, we would have had other champions just to win the 2v2. And the weakness of the draft is that we were losing all 3 lanes and had a losing jungler. But they didn't capitalize it on the first 6 levels. Like today you saw Vitality with Kiki's playing, really capitalizing on having the early strengths and just making the other junglers' life hell. And Misfits could have done that to us, but Broxah just completely out-jungled Maxlor in the early levels all throughout the entire game. And that's why our strategy just worked.
Amazing plays from Broxah, the unsung hero of Fnatic, of course. You said that before.
If he's being called an unsung hero, he's now a hero. And so is Hylissang is being called an unsung hero. And then there's an actual unsung hero in the top lane because he's just sitting there wave clearing and taking pressure, but he's still a really big part of the game.
So shout out to Soaz as well, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I remember talking to you last split 2 times, and both times you were very adamant about the fact that Broxah is actually such a core part of the team. I feel like at this point we can't even call him an unsung hero. I mean, it's just official. Broxah is just good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that the viewers and that you believe me now when I said that he's the backbone of the team.
I always
and I
believe
think
you.
Brooks and Hillesang are the backbones of the team, and they set up Buipo and Caps to be the flashy carries. And I think Soas plays his role as well in that he's a backbone, and we just set up the actual carry roles, which makes sense. Like, why would you have a mid laner set up your jungler? Yeah. So yeah.
Sometimes even Source gets to play Heimerdinger. That's some funny as well. Doing throwouts, I know. But so what kind of went wrong in today's game against H2K? Because I feel like there were some chances where H2K actually could have made it, and you don't want to be Fnatic of all the teams to lose to H2K of all the teams.
I think it was a lack of seriousness and discipline when we knew the game was won, which it actually really wasn't. And it's something that I discussed a lot with the team beforehand, because last week it made it really clear when we went from day one unicorns just playing a clown fiesta to playing a super clean macro game as Misfits, that this team has a tendency to not take their opponents too serious when they think they're gonna win, no matter what. And it still showed today. I felt like we made some really, like we had the mid lane tower at like 8 minutes or something, and mid lane was really far ahead, and we should have translated properly. We know how to do it. We know just have to push them into their tier 2 towers and then move to either bot lane tier 1 or top lane tier 1. There's nothing they can do about it. But we didn't. Instead, we died mid lane. And I think there was a really big moment where we just took the second Infernal Drake. It was the third Drake in total. And we were communicating that we had to catch the bot lane wave, but we weren't on the same wavelength, because at the same time, there was an engage, and then we fought 4 versus 5, and 2 of our carriers died.
That didn't feel too well, but at the end of the day, it all went well, and you weren't the team to give H2K their first win of the split. That's something as well, I guess.
It's really scary. You don't want to give that team the first win.
It's so funny. I literally did an interview with TQ yesterday. It's on Reddit right now, and that was kind of the headline. He felt extra pressure because you don't want to be the team that gives H2K the first win. I actually asked on Twitter just minutes ago whether there has been a team going 0-18 before. I don't think so. Not even in any LCS. I think even Team Dragon Knights, Team Coast, they got like 1 or 2 wins. So maybe an historic moment.
Yeah, I don't know the exact situation, but I know that Origin has a record with 14 losses in a row. I would like to see H2K not break that record. I don't think they're deserving of that, and I think Origin should really keep that record, because they do deserve that.
Okay, tough words, but honest words. We appreciate that. In terms of... okay, so you mentioned how Misfits are essentially like always trying to be the similar version of the best team in the league, I would assume. What do you think of the overall quality of the EU LCS right now compared, for example, to last year? What do you think of these top 3 EU LCS teams right now, Misfits, G2, Fnatic, going into Worlds potentially?
So it might be very cocky, but I think last year there were a few teams playing for second, and everyone kind of knew G2 was going to win. It was also the meme, right? Everyone is playing League of Legends or LCS, and then G2 wins in the end. But this year, there's a lot of competition for first place. Like, I'm not going to say that we're 10 times better than Misfits. I just say that we're favored. But they definitely have, the right to claim the best team in Europe as well, and we'll happily play them for it. And I think G2 is also very competitive. So going into Worlds, we should be really strong. G2 might have some problems with meta changes if it goes back to 80 carries. So, I'm waiting for that. But I think Misfits is still a really good team. And then a lot of middle of the pack teams as usual, some at the bottom. I think it's been way more competitive than in recent history.
So we can be hopeful maybe about Worlds. I actually got to talk to Perks yesterday, and I asked him about, how hard did Funnel hit G2, and he was like, we were just, playing Funnel on stage, but in scrims we were just playing standard, and we're scrimming, smurfing there, so it's like, we're not worried and stuff. It's like,
they were not smurfing. I can tell you that. Maybe against other teams. I don't know. They've played. I mean, you can't just only play Funnel. Like, of course, they're playing standard and trying to improve there as well. But yeah, if you play gimmicky team comps and they get removed, then you've just spent maybe 20, 30, 40, maybe 100 hours into a strategy that is now removed from the game. So, and the same will be at some point. The mages will be out of the game, and then a lot of our work will also be undone, whereas Misfits may then take a lead because they've been playing with an 80 carry all along. I think we do have a little bit of a benefit there, or an advantage compared to G2, because I think Reckless can just be plugged and played into the lineup. He's very knowledgeable about the game, and he's still, he's also in the office. He watches the presentation, he's learning with the team, scrimming with the team. So I don't think it's that big of an issue, but I think Misfits might have a small advantage there.
And he's also tweeting again, so people are realizing, oh, he's still alive. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't pass away or anything.
So, okay, one last question, because I proposed this on Twitter today. Viper looks just phenomenal as a player because he's played like 70 different champions within his year so far on solo queue and stuff. And he just, although he's an AD carry, he seems to be perfectly fine playing all these majors and other picks. Is he like one of those players where organizations all around the world are already like, hey, maybe we should, contact one or two? Because his English is also really good. So is like that a player that is kept on taps?
Definitely. We had a little bit of a quiz in Fnatic. We're like, if we get to clone one player 5 times, which player would make the best lineup? And our conclusion was that Viper was number 1. And for the EULCS, it would be Caps. Yeah. But Caps did say there will probably be a lot of arguing in the draft, and there will probably be a lot of aggression and no tanks and no melees and whatnot. So there's that. But we are a team that looks up to Griffin a lot. We even have a play named after them. Like, we studied them a lot because they also played a lot of bruisers and mages in bot lane. So we wanted to see, like, hey, what did they do differently than us? Because we were struggling sometimes with specific champions. And now we have a play which we call the Griffin door.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much also because Gryffindor is my favorite Hogwarts house, so I'm fantastic, huge fan. Is there a hashtag you would like to create for all the people that watched until now, so the entire interview, so they can put it in the comments and everyone knows, wow, they're cool people because they watched the entire interview?
I lack the creativity to think of anything.
You like the creativity to think? Oh, the lack. So, what about 6 titles? Succession, something like that?
That's too cocky.
That's too cocky.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Okay. How about hashtag? No, I can't think of anything. I'm not that creative. That's always been a weakness.
Hashtag Youngbuck, hashtag Joey. It's what is it now? Youngbuck or Joey? What do you prefer?
At my age, my old age, I turned 27 today. I think Joey is more fitting than Youngbuck, right?
Right. Yeah, 27 is very old for esports indeed. That's. I mean, I feel old sometimes when I talk to players and, who are 18, 19, and I'm like 23. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. Right. Okay, so no hashtag, maybe. Okay, now I get to decide.
No hashtag.
Hashtag, no hashtag. I like that a lot. That's very good. Okay, so hashtag, no hashtag. Anything you want to say to the Fnatic fans?
Oh, I want to thank you. I also got a lot of positive comments on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram from you guys. So always grateful, and I really hope you're enjoying the games. I know I am, because they're wild, they're crazy, but they're also very good. And we're fighting for the number 1 spot, and we won't disappoint. Very exciting to hear that. Very excited for playoffs. Thank you very much. This was Joey. And pool party, Darius from the Shotcaller. Hope you had a good day. See you then. Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you just enjoyed that video. This is a generic end card, of course, so make sure to click here for a different interview, or here for a different interview, or about here to subscribe to the Shotcaller. We very much appreciate your support, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.